Hi everyone, just on behalf of the senior school team, I just wanted to check in with our VCE students to see how you're all travelling. Hopefully you're all staying at home, staying healthy, staying safe. By now you should have seen the mode of delivery under remote learning that the school has adopted, including the weekly learning tasks and online classes. Very important that everybody looks to attend their scheduled online classes and making sure you're having that direct contact with your classroom teachers. I say all of your teachers are trying very, very hard to be able to ensure that the disruptions that you're all experiencing during this period of time are minimised as much as possible. And some of the key messages that we've had out there to all our senior students is to make sure you trust your teachers to be able to steer you through these unprecedented times. A couple of things that have come up from VCAR recently, although we are waiting for a lot more information still from them. But one thing that they have mentioned is that small groups of VCE students may be able to come on site to complete a requirement for some of their learning. That's actually going to be starting this week, so some of you may have already been had that communicated to you. If you are in that type of position, really we're talking about subjects where there's practical elements that can't be done at home. If you are required to come in or asked to come in, there is a bit of a process to go through with that. But make sure if you are coming in, you're checking in at our general office first. That's the first point of entry to the school for everybody. You will be just checked as you come into the school, so they'll just take your temperature and so on. We're just going to make sure that everybody is well. And then those students participating in any on-site learning for a short period of time will need to adhere to the physical distancing measures that are in place across the state as well. I know a lot of you are still unsure about or worried about what we're doing with SACs and so on. You probably would have seen through your teachers that formal assessments like SACs are continuing. And I think they started last week, and there's more happening this week as well. So all of your teachers are following the guidelines that have been set out by VCAR to this stage. Probably the biggest changes you'll see perhaps is in relation to the nature of how SACs are going to be delivered to you. Yeah, that might feel a little bit different, but again, just trust your teacher to prepare for and do the best as you can on that particular task. One of the bigger changes probably will be where there's subjects where there's multiple classes. Then it's likely that those subjects will be having their SACs taking place on a Monday, so all students of that subject can consider at the same time. There may be some exceptions to that, but generally they're going to be happening on Mondays. In relation to those online classes, again, making sure that you're attending those classes as scheduled. Of course, if you've got a SAC on the Monday for one of those reasons, then you may obviously not be available to attend an online class on Mondays. But VCE teachers generally have been recommended to hold their online classes between Tuesday to Friday rather than on Mondays. We are working on putting together a new SAC calendar so we can give you some planning around what's coming up. So as soon as I have that, I'll make that available to you. You would have seen I've already communicated through a Compass post, but in relation to a new contract, a SAC contract that we want students to be able to sign off on for each of their SACs. Now, so that's really an obligation that you need to be able to enter into to ensure that we can authenticate your work as best as possible. We certainly don't want any students out there putting themselves in compromised positions where information comes our way that the work submitted for SACs is not your own. So please don't put yourself in that situation, because things are hard enough as they currently are. I certainly don't want to go down the path of having to look at giving students zeros for tasks. Just do the right thing, do the best that you can, and again, trust your teacher to be able to lead you through that. In terms of the feedback that you get, because the nature of the SACs and the whole situation has changed a little bit differently. So VCE students, year 11 and 12, will just get that general feedback around your level of achievement as either a high, a medium or a low response or piece of work. Teachers are still going to be in the situations of being able to determine what constitutes a satisfactory completion of the outcome or not. So therefore, if you still receive what's deemed to be less than 40% or less than satisfactory, the redemption process as normal will still continue. So again, we don't necessarily want a lot of students to be going down that path. Make sure that you're preparing as best as you can for your formal assessments. VCA have announced that the dates for Unit 1 and Unit 3 have been extended, and that'll go all the way through the remainder of this term. So you might recall that usually in the last week of Term 2, Taylor's Lakes flips into the new unit. So we usually start Units 2 and Unit 4 in that last week. So that won't be happening. And the other thing, as a result of that, we'll be looking at making changes to things like the exam process at Year 10 and 11 and the Year 12 practice exams. So they won't be occurring. VCA's already announced that the GAT is not going to be occurring in June. It's likely to occur in October, November. And VCA is still planning for Year 12 exams to take place in December. But obviously we'll get more information about that as it comes to light. I'll continue to look to keep you informed as much as possible in terms of whenever we get those updates from VCA. In the meantime, again, please, if you've got any issues with your work, you've got capacity there to be able to contact your teachers. You've got your year level leaders and your sub-school leaders. They're all working very hard to support you around this period of time. If you've got issues in relation to your well-being and mental health, all of those services that we have at the school are still available to you as well. So look to reach out, make sure that you're not feeling as if that you're on your own through this difficult time. We're all in it together. All right. So look after yourselves. Prepare the best you can for your formal assessments. Again, just key thing I want to get through is that trust your teachers through this difficult time to be able to lead you through and prepare the best that you possibly can for what lies ahead of you. All right. All the best, and we look forward to seeing you back here with us at Taylor's Lakes sooner rather than later. Thank you.